All right, folks, welcome into the After Schrock. Apologize, it took me a little longer than normal there to get everything rolling, but hopefully we'll give everybody a couple seconds to get connected here. And while we're doing that, I'm going to send this email over to Lincoln for Tom, who won the gift certificate for $25. And it is Tom. So this way, if anyone ever says, you never send the information over, everybody knows that I do because you're seeing me do it. In fact, I'm trying not to read his phone number out loud. It's a good phone number, too. Easy to remember. All right, there we go. That message is sent. All right, so we covered a lot of ground. I didn't even have time to say everything twice in that show, which usually during a radio show, you know, if you're one of the people who listen from the start to the finish, I really appreciate that. A lot of people don't have time to do that. They're going to church, they're doing other things. So they call that a tune-in, tune-out. And usually it's about, if you have a really good show, your average tune-in, tune-out is about 15 minutes. And I mean, that's if you're rocking the house. If you're, you know, Thor Schrock, it might be a lot shorter. I don't know. But the tune-in, tune-out at 15 minutes means whatever you say in 15 minutes, you have to say again every 15 minutes throughout the program to make sure that it gets into everybody's skulls and then communicate your message effectively, which is one of the reasons why it's really annoying to listen to political radio sometimes, because the political radio hosts that understand that, it's like, gosh, they're just saying the same thing over and over and over. Yeah, they are. That's why they're doing it. Because they know that they're getting new listeners every 15 minutes and they're trying to push a message out. So we're not really trying to do that with this show, but there's a lot of information. So some of the things like, hey, we have a computer sale going on, or hey, there's a sale on Windows 10 upgrades. That's something that we want to say every 15 minutes. We just didn't have time to do it today. The Thorstradamus show is always fun because the predictions are uncannily accurate. Can't argue with that. Also, the predictions are fun. Prediction shows are fun. Everybody loves a good psychic, right? So anyway, that's all good and everything. Happy New Year to you as well, Mark. I hope we have a good year too. I hope you do too. So yeah, so it's kind of one of those weird weeks. You know, we're coming off of a holiday week, and you're trying to get everything started and everybody fired up, and looking at a new year and trying to, you know, how did we do last year? What are we going to do different next year? And then there's meetings and staff and new hires. Yeah, we have new hires on Monday. Tomorrow we have a new front desk starting in the Omaha Service Center. The Omaha Service Center has been without a front desk for about, I want to say 6 months, but we've hired 2 different people for that position. Neither one of them has worked out. And so now we're at that point where we have another one starting. This one has a great resume. She is, you know, I have not met her actually, which is kind of weird. People are like, Thor, you're employing her and you haven't met her. I didn't have time to interview her in the 4th quarter. Brian did all the interviewing, and that way he owns it, you see. That way if she's like a scrub, we can say, Brian, what'd you do, man? The last one that I hired had a doctorate and didn't work out. So why don't you take a shot at it, buddy? So anyway, the new front desk that's starting in Omaha on Monday, we're excited to have you on board. It's going to be cool. Also, we have hired a new salesperson. Well, not a new salesperson. We added a position to Schrock. We don't really have commission salespeople. I don't like it. I don't like walking into a business and being assailed by, you know, representatives trying to sell me stuff because they want to get the commission. I would much rather have people working for me that are motivated to help other people, and rather than motivated to earn a buck by pushing a product or a service on somebody. There's definitely a role for that, you know, in some pieces of business, but in my business to consumer stuff, I don't want that. It doesn't work. However, Schrock Innovations has a growing business-to-business stable of services. And in the business-to-business environment, the salesperson has a different role. So when I can get on the radio here and I can talk and have a great conversation with everybody that's watching right now and listening, and we can get to know each other, and you can get to know me and how I do business, and I can get to know you. And when Dee Powers calls me about her computer, I can see her face in my mind. I know her computer. She's been with us for years. I've been to Dee's house, I think. No, I have. I've been to Dee's house. I did an on-site to her house once. So it's, you know, I know Dee. And so that's great. The problem is in a business environment, as businesses dealing with other businesses, you don't have that kind of time. And the landscape moves so quick, and it's so much more complex that you really need a dedicated person whose sole job it is is to build relationships with those organizations so that when they have a need, we are in the right place at the right time with the right product to meet that need. And so we hired Annette. Annette is coming to us from another company. She is a sales professional. She is the real deal. And she is going to be representing Schrock in the community. So if you go to business networking events, if you go to like Omaha Chamber events, Sarpy Chamber events, Lincoln Chamber events, LIBA events, anything like that, you're going to see Annette there. You can let me know how she's doing. But her job is basically not so much, I mean, of course she's a salesperson. I mean, so of course she has salesy goals to do, but her job isn't to necessarily just go out and sell as much as she can. She's kind of a hybrid employee. Her job is to build relationships with other businesses, and then if and when a need arises, to make sure that everyone knows what we do and how we can help. And then hopefully we're trying to build our business side of Schrock Innovations the same way we built our consumer side. We're not going to be pushy. We're not going to try to, we're going to tell you what you need, in our opinion. We're going to give you choices, and then you can pick the choice that's best for you. And if whatever we recommend isn't the best choice for you, we're not going to give you a tough time about it. We're going to do what you tell us to do. I had a woman in the Omaha Service Center this week who is, once in a while we get approached by these people. They're called targeted individuals. They think that the world is literally out to get them. Sometimes they're schizophrenic. Sometimes, sometimes they're sick. It's kind of sad, but they come to us and they think that the walls are listening or their carpet is bugged, and they want us to secure their carpet, and we're just like, I don't know what we can do with that. So this woman came in, and at first, somebody that a customer that I know is a serious person and a trusted person, came to me and said, this woman is going to call you. What's up?
Look at line 1.
I can't see line 1. Somebody on line 1?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was writing you a note.
Oh, okay, cool. That's all right. We'll get it posted tomorrow. All good.
See you later.
Yep. So this woman comes in, and a trusted customer comes to me and says, this lady is for real. She's not crazy. And I'm like, okay. And then I hear her story, and it sounds like I understand why he said this now, because I would have thought she was nuts. But no, she literally has like some stalker boyfriend guy who considers himself a tech guy who works for some kind of security camera, spy camera company that put cameras throughout the house, did all this crazy stuff. And now every time she gets a new piece of technology, and it gets hacked in like 10 minutes. It doesn't matter. She throws it all away. She buys all new. She spent thousands of dollars on new equipment. It all got hacked the next day. She threw it all away. She bought new. And she comes to us and says, please help me. I'm losing my mind because I have no privacy in my life. I'm being watched. My phone calls are being listened to. And here's the thing. The guy hasn't infected her hardware. He has infected her online accounts. He has access to her iCloud. He has access to her Gmail. He has access to, he can reset her passwords. And it sounds super scary, but we know how he's doing it. I mean, we've seen it before. So I'm walking her through the steps of what we need to do to solve the problem. And she's been burnt by so many places. She's just like, that's great. So, okay, let's put endpoint secure updater. Let's do all this. Let's send a tech out to my house to secure my router. Let's do all the stuff. So we get it all going. And then, later on she calls back and she's like, I don't want that security software. And I'm like, what? You don't want the security software? Let me be clear. I mean, we'll take it off. It was a $400 tab with everything that we did. So I totally get it. $400 is a lot of money. If you don't want us to do that, I mean, technically we've already installed the software. We already burnt the licenses. I mean, those licenses aren't free. Once we use them, we're committed for the year. So, but you know what? Customer service, if you don't want it, you haven't picked it up yet, we'll take care of it. But here's the deal. Let us secure what we can secure, because right now you're running around and you're slapping at everything. You literally sold your furniture last week because you're worried it might have bugs in it. Not bugs like insects, but bugs like digital bugs. So let's secure the stuff that we can secure. Let's close and lock the doors that we can close and lock, because then if something happens, we know it didn't come in from there. There's something else. Then we can go find the something else. And when we find that, we'll close and lock that. And then we'll do a sweep, make sure everything is secure, and then we'll see what happens. And if it happens again, we know there's something else. And what happens is these guys that are super slick with their technology stuff, they're full of mad tricks. Dad's got tricks. Okay, great. But tricks are only good until you get caught, and then the trick is done. And as many tricks as there are, we've seen them all. So we can stop a lot of the tricks before we have the experience with them. And then if there's something crazy and new that this guy's really like, wow, that's really smart, hey, we'll nod our head and say, that guy's really smart, but he's not smarter than all 15 of my guys. Okay, so we will shut him down because Endpoint keeps a record of every intrusion. So after the fact, if you get hit, we don't just, well, let's clean that up and call it good. How did you get hit? We can look back in the logs and see when it came in, how it came in. She wanted me to trace it for her. Then I had to explain to her that tracing is hard to do because VPNs and everything else, you can really disguise where you're coming from. If it was easy to trace, we would know if China or North Korea or Iran was hacking everybody with ransomware. We can't really know for sure because you can't track it very well. So the bottom line is we gave her options. And eventually she chose the correct option, the one that we would recommend and I would consider correct. Let's secure what we can secure because you're living in an unsecure world. You have no peace of mind. You're literally going crazy. And this guy is destroying your life. So let's shut him down. This is what I would do. And this woman, if it helps at all, she's very well off. She's built and sold several companies. She's financially set. So $400 is a lot of money, but maybe not to her, is what I'm getting at. So let's do it. And so now we've taken that first step of securing her and making sure that her technology is going to be safe. And that's what we do at Schrock, is we give people choices and options. So anyway, with your Windows 7 computers, guys, you have a couple of options. You can either upgrade it to Windows 10 or you can buy a new computer. If you can't upgrade to Windows 10 for some reason, it's because the hardware won't let you do it, and that means you have to buy a new computer. Considerations. A lot of times you have older Office software. If you have Office 2003, for example, it's not going to be compatible with Windows 10. It's been 7 years. They support the software for 5 years. We can install it and it will work, but it will not activate because the activation servers are gone. These are the kind of little things that we're going to know, to ask you when we sell you a new computer so that we can get that going. As you heard during the show, we can do a data transfer for you. It is much, much more than simply grabbing the files off your old hard drive and putting them on your new hard drive. We're not taking a flash stick and going, boop, boop, $150 please. We're going through the computer, we're setting up your email. We're transferring your favorites. We're transferring your desktop wallpapers and your settings. We're transferring all of your settings for your different programs. When you have other programs, like if you have QuickBooks or TurboTax or things like that, you can bring the disks in as part of the data transfer. We will reinstall your software for you and make sure your company files and your tax files all open. So the objective of the data transfer is when you get home with your new computer, it is, as much as it can be, ready to rock and roll. The only limitations that we have, we can't really install devices that we don't have in the service center. So sometimes people will bring us their printer software and say, please install my printer. We can't do that because we have to have the printer hooked up to install it. And so when you get home, that's what the 90 days of free Schrock Desk is for. When you buy a computer from us, you get 90 days of the Schrock Desk for free. So when you get home, we can connect with you over the internet, get everything installed and running for you. So it works out really well. So those are your two options, your two choices, if you will. So if you have a Windows 7 computer or you know anybody that does, that's what they need to do, and they need to do it quick. Because like I said, you're going to be good for about 30 days. It's going to be relatively safe for about 30 days. And then after that, all hell is going to break loose. It's going to be a mess. So you want to make sure you get in on this deal if you can get out of Windows 7. Do it this way, do it now. All right, so let's see. If anyone has any questions, we can go through there. Nice shirt, definitely an upgrade. Well, thank you, Mark. The lovely Kimberly will like it quite a bit. It's like the T-shirts are great and all, but I don't know. I wear print. I go through phases. I guess I went through my T-shirt phase for a while, and now I'm back into a dress shirt phase. I'm wearing button-down shirts, and I told my wife, when I go to work, one of the big, my wife and I, we do this thing every New Year. We try to come up with a word or a theme that's going to define our year, or a concept that's going to define our year. And we have different areas of life. We have our professional areas of life. We have our personal areas of life. We have our marriage area of the life. So basically, you can come up with a word for each one, but it's basically a theme. And if you can find one unifying theme for all of them, that's a bonus. But it's just something that you can reach back on throughout the year to remind you to be your best self. And the word that keeps coming back to me, this is something I've been working on with my guys, is professional. Be professional. What does a professional do? Well, a professional gets paid, first of all. Yes, so get paid, you guys. But no, I'm talking to my guys. A lot of our technicians, they're extremely gifted technicians. The really bright ones go from junior technicians to senior technicians. And when I say really bright, I don't just mean in computer stuff. The senior technicians also have the gift of being able to talk to people in ways. All my guys can talk to people. We don't really hire antisocial people, but the senior technicians are capable of taking an angry customer, for example, determining why that customer is angry, and finding a solution that diffuses the situation and allows everyone to walk away as happy parties. That's what we always want to have happen at Schrock. So my senior technicians, though, have very little experience in management. They're not, they've never had to manage staffs of people and things like that. And so one of the things that we've started doing at Schrock is we're starting to invest a little bit more in the training of the management class of people at Schrock Innovations. These are the kind of things that you can say in front of employees. These are the things you shouldn't say in front of employees. You shouldn't discuss personnel issues in front of other people unless there's a reason to do so. Like if everyone's doing the same problematic thing, then you can call one person out and say, but you're all doing it, so come on, let's fix this. Little things like that. Professional things. In the back of the service center, my guys aren't sailors. I don't think we have a single guy that curses like a sailor. But once in a while, a gem does escape the lips. And if you loudly exclaim, "Oh, fudge," from the back room, the air in the room carries the sound, and it bounces off the walls, and it finds its way to the front desk, where you have, like, the church lady standing there. And she's like, "Oh," come on, guys. You can't yell, "Oh, fudge." Not saying fudge, obviously. So professional. And then that leads me back to, we have this thing at Schrock, casual competence. We want people to feel welcome when they come in. We want them to feel relaxed. We don't wear neckties and badges and things like that. I'm not knocking Best Buy. I'm just saying that's not us. We don't do that. We don't dress up in a costume to give ourselves additional authority that we may not necessarily have through our skills and abilities. So we let our skills and abilities and the performance that we do speak for ourselves, whereas the t-shirts are comfortable. They're something that all the guys and girls will wear, and they give us a uniform appearance. And because of that, we like that. And it gives us this casual competence. So this is pushing the boundaries of casual competence. So my employees are like, "Hey, Thor, nice polo. When are we getting polos?" And I'm like, "Well, I bought this polo. My wife had it embroidered. Buy your own clothes and I'll embroider them for you." But no, so I mean, we're gonna do more shirts and things like that. But I think the word that keeps coming back this year for Schrock is professional. We want to develop our senior technician staff, especially, to look at their job in the same way a professional athlete looks at their job. You don't see the professional athlete pulling a Thor and buying a 6-pack of Reese's peanut butter eggs at Target yesterday and eating all 6 of them and then having cheesecake for dessert later in the day. You don't see that happening with a professional athlete because they know what they put into their bodies. Their body is their product. That's what they make their living, right? So you guys at Schrock, our management class, our job is to make sure that the service centers run smoothly, that there are no unexpected problems. Our job is not to put out fires. Our job is to prevent fires. Our job is to catch things before they become problems, to correct more things in a day than we're supposed to, than is our fair expectation to correct. To teach our junior technicians how to do the same thing so they're a force multiplier for us. Because my senior guys are really, really good. And then a lot of times it's like, just let me in there. I will fix it. I will make it right, Thor. It'll be amazing. Parker, give me 3 days with those boys. I'll have them straightened out. And he will. But that's the thing. Going in there and doing the work yourself as a senior technician doesn't do your junior technicians any favors. A professional would go in, identify the problem, identify the failure in the system that's allowing the problem to happen, and fix the system so that the system doesn't allow the failure to happen. That way, if you take a day off, there's no problems, right? So those are the kind of things that I think that's my professional word, or my work word is professional. But then you can think about that. You can apply that to a lot of areas of your life. You might not say it as professional, but like if you're in a marriage, you want to make sure that you're you're doing your job well as a spouse. That you don't get paid to be a spouse. It's like a professional spouse. I don't know if that works. I've seen some Russian bride websites. I think they're professional spouses, but you could apply it, indirectly to that part of your life, or to being a parent. You want to do the best that you can do for your kids. I admit at times I get a little frustrated. My kids are rather loud, and I come home and I'm just like, oh, I've been just talking all day, and then I just open the door and you hear that, "Wah! Daddy's home! Yay! Wah!" And my wife looks at me. She goes, "I swear they weren't screaming before you came home." It just happens. So anyway, it was one of the, so I admit, there are times when I'm a little more frustrated than I should be. And, there are times when I have a special needs daughter. There are times when it's just easier to wash her in the tub than to sit there and painfully watch her try to wash herself. But I'm not doing her any favors by washing her every night. She needs to learn how to wash herself. So, yeah. So, I mean, you can apply that to being a professional parent. You can apply that to being just doing the best that you can in all areas of your life. So anyway, when you're having those low motivation days, that's when you reach for those words. So anyway, it's a work in progress. We're still working on it this year. It's been tougher this year because there's so many different areas that we're trying to integrate together into one word that my wife even admitted we might have to break this into quarters. This quarter is this word, this quarter is this word. But yeah, so that's something we do every New Year. So for Schrock Innovations, we're working on that this year, finding out what our word is going to be. Last year was our 20th anniversary, and I didn't even have time to say happy birthday to Schrock today. I forgot my kid's birthday. I am a bad dad. So yeah, Schrock's 21 years old today. Great. I'm such a bad dad. Schrock's going to go out and get plastered and buy cigarettes. So yeah, that's just terrible. But yeah, so no, I guess the long and the short of it, guys, is that we're trying to come up with a word for Schrock. Last year was best year ever. We were 20th anniversary. We said we wanted to have our best year ever. Best year meaning best in every way, best monetarily, best from a service perspective. We had more reviews last year than we have received ever. We won all of the best of competitions. Some of them we tried really hard to win. Others we just won. We didn't even know they were going on. That was amazing. We thank you for that, by the way. The recycling. We recycled more recycles than we ever have in Schrock history. We recycled 5.3 tons of e-waste last year. 5.3 tons of e-waste. And that's all computers and computer parts and stuff like that. So that's 5.3 tons of crap that's not in the landfill because it got recycled to make other electronic devices. So that's pretty cool. Just best year ever. That was our theme. So this year, the professional theme is we're gonna weave that into everything we do, and make sure that our people understand that we're all professionals. We're all paid to be here. Even our junior technicians are professionals, and they need to behave accordingly. And somewhere along the line, I remember when I got my first job, I learned to wash dishes at Sergeant Pepper's Italian on Saddle Creek. That was my first job ever. And you don't realize now that I'm hiring kids that age to do things, like we have one person that came across our radar, and we're just like, this guy has absolutely zero skills, like zero skills, aside from the fact he is really, really excited to be here. Like no skills, no phone skills. It was painful. I was listening to one employee read back a credit card number the other day on the phone, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these kids have never worked a telemarketing job before. It was my telemarketing jobs where I learned how to read a phone number back, or how to read a credit card number back. You don't say 1800-2400, or you don't say 1804. There are no O's in credit card numbers. There are zeros. And you read each number back individually. You don't wait till the customer is done and then read it all back, because we've all had that happen, right? You read off your credit card number and you stick it back in your wallet, and then the person on the phone starts reading it back to you. And you're like, yep, that's great. And then, of course, they got a number wrong, and they call you back later because the number's wrong. So you read back the number as you go, 1801-2400. And that's how you read it back. If the customer reads you 4 numbers, you read 4 numbers back. And the 4, sometimes they don't slow down. Then you interrupt them and you read 4 numbers back, because the objective that everyone is going for is to have an accurate credit card number. And people are smart. After the first time you interrupt them and they realize you're reading back the numbers in blocks of 4, they read you the numbers in blocks of 4. And people conform to that, except for you Amex people. Can't follow blocks of 4 because your card numbers don't come in blocks of 4. So anyway, So that's our new year. So I don't know what your traditions are for New Year, things that you guys do, but yeah, let me know if you have a New Year's tradition like that. Just let me know. Carolyn, I know you want us in Round Rock. Oh, give a guy a minute, okay? We're trying to open in Des Moines. Thank you for the shirt. Yeah, lovely Kimberly did a good job on these. Hey, Nancy from Phoenix. Hey, that's pretty cool. All right, Happy New Year, Carolyn. Good to have you here as well. All right, so story we didn't get to during the program. There was one biggie, and that was Microsoft takes down 50 domains operated by North Korean hackers. Microsoft took control of 50 domains operated by Thallium, a North Korean cyber espionage group, which means state-sponsored. So basically, Microsoft went to court, said they proved that these were hacking sites, and somehow Microsoft got a court to give them control of the domains, the .coms, those 50 domains that were used to launch cyber attacks by a group have now been taken offline. So, for example, Google, this is going to be a long example. Google is changing the way, one of the things we do at Schrock is we have to stay on top of search engine optimization tactics. Because our clients that pay us to make sure their websites rank need to have that level of service, and we need to make sure we're reaching new customers, which means we need to do well in the search results as well. Google is changing the way search results work. It used to be websites are great, we type it on your desktop computer or your laptop. Then they went to mobile, and everything was responsive, and over half of searches come from mobile devices and tablets, and that's great. But guess what the next phase of this is it's voice search. Do you know that if you search using your voice on your phone, you can get different search results than if you search with your thumbs? So how do you optimize for that? I'm not going to give away the farm here because my competitors watch the show too. But we are definitely, we have a full-time SEO person at Schrock, and they spend over half of their time SEOing just for Schrock. So all of our different properties, our data recovery properties, our computer repair properties, all those things are getting optimized for voice search so that when this change happens over the next 6 months, it'll be gradual. Our competitors will fall down and we will climb up in different searches. So as a result, all of these domains that are taken down, we need content on our website to rank for the stuff that we're trying to search for. So I'm writing all this content yesterday about what is a domain, right? Like, what is it? Because we get customers that come to us, businesses, and they're like, I need a website. I don't know what a domain is. I don't know what any of that stuff is. And it would be nice if we had like a hit list of this is what this is what that is. And as I mentioned, we hired a new salesperson. She is tech knowledgeable, but she's never sold web before. It might be nice for her to have a set of definitions that she could read to educate herself about what this is. And I'm sure she's doing it right now on her own because she's a professional. But in the meantime, let's have a system in place for the next salesperson we hire in Des Moines, maybe. So let's build this up. So I'm writing all this content, and I'm going through all the tips on how to pick a good domain. And some of the examples are truly hilarious. So, for example, did it ever occur to anybody when you buy a domain in your business that you need to double check to make sure that your your business name does not inadvertently spell something inappropriate? Yeah. So the example that is online is from a company specializing in wood pens. They make some beautiful like bamboo pens and stuff, and they call themselves Pen Island. Spell out Pen Island. Write it down. Spell it out loud to someone in the room. Not if there's kids in the room. Yeah. Make sure you go. So that was tip number one, was make sure that your name, like Pen Island, doesn't spell something inappropriate when you write it down on a piece of paper. Pen Island sounds great, but Pen Island written down says something completely different. Okay? Number two, it's always better to have a .com than to have a .net, because PenIsland.net will take you to the beautiful website that designs wooden pens. But PenIsland.com will take you to a not safe for work website, because Pen Island spelled out spells something completely different than Pen Island. So that's about as G-rated as I can keep that. But those are great examples of businesses. So I'm writing out all these tips because we need this content, because picking the domain is really important. Because if you go to the wrong domain, for example, avoid homophones in your domain name. So if you go to omahasteaks.com, STEAKS, you get delicious meat. If you want to test your semantic endpoint, go to omahasteaks.com, like kill a vampire steak. That will cause your endpoint to pop off and block an infection attempt on your computer. So if you go to omahasteaks.com, steaks like you get delicious meat. Omaha Steaks like .com, you get a computer virus. Important to know. That's how these North Korean domains, and it was a long trip. You followed me though, right? This is how these North Korean domains get people. Is they have that intrusion that's being blocked at websites just like omahasteaks.com. That's what people get hit with that gives them ransomware. That's how you can get a virus. I don't do it. Literally, I had someone tell me I don't do anything on my computer except Google and Facebook, and I don't need antivirus. Whoa, birthday mode. What? All you have to do is Google and click a link, and North Korea's got you infected. All you have to do is go on Facebook and say, oh, I didn't know about that. Click, and boom, all of a sudden you're off yeah, it's not good. You only do the two most risky things you can do on the internet, but you don't need antivirus. So anyway, yeah, you need antivirus. So Microsoft knocked down 50 of those domains that were inadvertently attacking people day in and day out on their computers. That's a good thing. That's a really good thing. So they got that taken care of. So last but not least on the AfterSchrock today is Des Moines. So we have actually taken the first well, see, Keith, there is no space in a domain name. So you can't put a space between Penn and Island. There's no space. Yes. Thank you for typing it out so everyone can see it on Facebook, Keith. I know that's what you were doing. So anyway, yeah, so we talked to, let me get his name here real quick. I don't want to give you the wrong guy. Jeff Spence, who works for CBRE Realty in Des Moines and West Des Moines, Iowa. And he grew up in Des Moines. He knows the Des Moines area. He's going to be representing Schrock Innovations in finding the right location for us to pick. He has told me that we could expect construction in Des Moines to take between 2 and 3 months, which I thought sounded very quick compared to construction times in Nebraska. However, he also pointed out the reason I was being absolutely sticker shocked by some of the retail prices isn't because the rents are higher, it's because the taxes are so much higher. And I've done searches before to find out like who has, and I always thought Iowa had slightly lower taxes than Nebraska on a lot of things. Apparently that's not the case on commercial real estate. The triple net is the cost of operating a commercial space. So when you rent a space or lease a space, you pay X amount of dollars per square foot for the space you're using. And then if it's like a strip mall, there are communal costs, exterior lighting, snow removal, landscaping, Christmas lights in the holiday season, things like that cost money. And you pay for those things collectively. So your cost per square foot, there's a little bit added per square foot. So here's the amount of rent, and here's the amount for maintenance, and basically all the extras. That's called triple net. So triple net at our property. So the West Des Moines area is it's going to be a similar setup to what our Papillion Service Center looks like. It would be a good comparison. It would be somewhere between Papillion and Lincoln as far as like the area and the type of demographic. So when you look at that, the triple net in both of those locations is about $4 a square foot. The triple net in West Des Moines is $7 to $9 a square foot. It's double. And it doesn't sound like a lot until you take $9 a square foot, multiply it times 1,600 square feet, multiply that times 12, because you want to find out, or sorry, divide that by 12 to find out how much extra that is per month. And all of a sudden you're spending like $800 extra a month for landscaping and taxes. It's the property taxes. So it's kind of crazy. Also, last time we looked at constructing a bay in Iowa, the construction cost came in at like $100,000. It was stupid. So yeah, that's the other thing that we need. We need to have somebody who knows who the developers are, because most of the time, there is a reason we work with Kruger when we build new in Lincoln. We've always worked with Kruger. We probably always will work with Kruger. They're a great company. They have everything you need right there. Everything is built out for you. They know the flooring guys, they know the concrete guys, they know the painters. And when I say they know them, they know them, and it's not a rip-off game. So similar thing with our Papillion Service Center. When we opened Papillion, golly, the company running that was amazing. They had a whole lineup of people ready to come in and build out our bay. The problem was they were all going to charge us 3 times the going rate because they knew that they were recommended automatically, and that so we literally came in and said, listen, we'd like to use different providers for some of the things. Some of the things are fine, but for example, we don't want to spend $12,000 to paint our bay. I think that's a little high. We got away with 6. So that's good. And the concrete floor guy, yeah, it's going to cost us $20,000 to have you paint the back room floor and do a nice finish on the front room floor. I have a concrete guy who's one of our web clients. Let me ask him to come in and bid it. And sure enough, we got it done for $4,000. So there are some things that were a little off the hook. Now, unfortunately, in Iowa, we don't have that network of people to do things. And so I don't know. I've always said that the stuff that we do at Schrock, you could make a reality show out of some of this stuff, because there is drama. Building a new service center is never drama free. There were some, we just won't sign off on at moments in the Papillion Service Center. When we came in, for example, if you've ever been in the bathroom in Papillion, the whole Papillion was a high-end, high-tech service center. And we went in there and we didn't think that we'd have to specify the wall covering in the bathroom because it's drywall, right? Like the rest of the space. We didn't say don't put plastic on the walls of the rest of the bay, but no, literally they put plastic over they glued plastic to the drywall like it's a truck stop bathroom that you're going to have to hose off at the end of the night. Literally, we're like, oh my gosh, nothing says low rent like a plastic walled bathroom. Wow. Not the look we're looking for, but how many people hang out in the bathroom, but still you can judge a lot about a company by how they keep their bathrooms. So anyway, yeah, that was fun. So we have no idea what to expect for construction in Des Moines. Is it going to be expensive? Is it going to be cheap? Is it going to be problematic? Signs. We have no idea how much signage costs. We have to get that. You have to get signs on the building, right? We have to know where the building is first to know how many signs we need and how large the signs are. So this is the first step in the process. The short-term goal is to make sure we have a location picked out by the end of January, a lease signed in February, so construction can begin and be completed by May or June. We'll be hiring. We're going to be transplanting, at least on a temporary basis, a technician from one of our existing a senior technician from one of our existing service centers to act as a de facto manager of the new location to make sure that the new people get trained right. We're going to then hire 2 additional technicians, and we're going to transplant them in June. We're going to transplant them from Des Moines into Omaha and put them up for a month while they train in our Omaha service center. And the objective will be to basically have the service center open and ready for business by August, which gets us up and running for the holiday special, which is good. So anyway, that's the plan. Just like God laughs at your plans, sometimes he laughs at mine too. So we'll see what happens, but that's the tentative goal. It's tentatively achievable, and hopefully everything will work out fine. So that's your Des Moines update as well for all of you who have been hanging with us. I appreciate you all listening on WHO. You guys are going to be the next big expansion for Schrock, and a really big test. Right now, all of our service centers are within 1 hour of each other. So if something goes sideways, I can be there in an hour. I can have any of my guys there in an hour. Des Moines is different. Des Moines is 2 to 3 hours, depending on how you drive and where we locate. So that's hard. I mean, let's assume it's 2 hours. So you're 2 hours out and you're 2 hours back. So that's 4 hours out of your 8-hour day already shot, right? So you could go drive for 4 hours so you can work for 4 hours. It's kind of rough, right? So anyway, and then the grand opening in Des Moines. We don't really have a customer base in Des Moines. We have a few customers. I want to say a few, I mean, we have 25,000 customers in the Omaha and Lincoln metro areas. We have about 150 in the Des Moines area, in the Des Moines metro area. We'll pull some from Council Bluffs, maybe. We'll pull some from the outlying Iowa areas because the Des Moines will be closer than Papillion. So, maybe it's more like 300 customers, but 300 customers a shop does not make. You need to have at least a couple thousand to really pay the bills and do well. And so the best way you can get people in the door is to give away a lot of free stuff. So we are going to be giving away, and my staff will need reps. They will need repetitions to get their skills sharp. They'll have a lot of reps in the Omaha Service Center, but then you transplant them to a new shop. The tools are in different places. Everything is just a little bit less efficient because of that. People, while they are trained and they can operate the systems, they've never had to operate the systems under volume before. And so, we'll probably have a soft open of some kind where we send messages out to our existing clients. If you have friends or family in the Des Moines area, please invite them to join us at Schrock Innovations for a free whatever. We want to try out our stuff. And then after that, once we know it all works well, then we'll put it on the radio show or whatever. So maybe Iowa should legalize gambling, bring them taxes down. Oh, a little sarcasm there on your Sunday morning. Can you put new batteries in an iPad? We sure can, Tammy. We don't advertise too much that, well, in the past we haven't been able to advertise at all that we do phone and tablet repairs. Number one, phone and tablet repairs are difficult. They're not profitable. A technician must work on your device dedicated without interruption for a half hour to an hour. The going price for an iPad battery, is like $60-70 for the battery, and the installation is another 30 or 40 if you go to one of the iFix places. And if you make one mistake, pop one cable, do one thing wrong, you've lost all the profitability for the next 5 jobs. The other problem we have is most of the time with your mobile devices, batteries are pretty easy. We will do batteries all day long. So yes, definitely get the battery in, get that into us, we'll do the battery for you. Also make sure you tell them about the new customer coupon, get you your first hour of labor free if you've never been in before. The second thing though is most people bring in broken screens. And now with all the fingerprint readers being built directly into the glass of the screen, they're security coded. And what that means is the fingerprint readers are irreplaceable unless you have the right software from Apple, for example, to recode the screen to match the security on the chip. Otherwise, your fingerprint scanner will just never work again. So realistically, you're going to see a consolidation in the iFix places. We noted this last year. All of the phone fix places are starting to kind of edge into computer repair a little bit. It's a natural progression for them. Just like doing an iPad battery is a natural progression for us. But they're not experienced in doing the computer repairs. Their systems were built for mobile repairs. They're trying to take the same, we can fix your phone in a half an hour and apply it to a computer, which is a different animal. You can't even run a full hard drive scan in a half an hour. So yeah, we can fix your computer in a half an hour too if we don't test everything and we send it back out the door and fix the specific individual issue that you brought it in for, and don't dig any deeper to find out why the problem happened in the first place, because maybe you have a bad power supply that's frying hard drives, and after the third hard drive we might think to test that and tell you, oh, you have a bad power supply too, and you might say, if I would have known that before, I wouldn't have paid you to fix the hard drive. I would have just bought a new computer. We're a service company. We need to know that stuff. So we can't fix your computer in a half an hour. We try to fix it same day, next day, but we can't fix it in a half an hour. We just can't. We try, but we can't. So anyway, now you see signs going up in their windows about drone repair. We fix drones. I had no idea that the drone repair industry was so large that we needed fix-it places on every corner that could fix your drones. If we're going to crash, maybe we could be like a GPS app that tries to get the drone to crash as close as possible. Maybe that whole stunt over Colorado and western Nebraska with the drones flying in formations, maybe that's just a giant marketing thing for an iFix store. It could be brilliant. It'd be brilliant. One of the things we talked about doing, so my son got a hoverboard for Christmas. There's hoverboards, those things that you stand on and you lean forward or back and it goes like 9 miles an hour. And so at Christmas, the whole family's over, and my son's like, I ain't getting on that thing. It sounds like a good way to break my leg so I can never play football again. So, it's sitting up there in the kitchen, and I'm looking at the hoverboard. I'm like, I'm in the kitchen, right? And the counter's all around me, right? So, what am I, if I, whatever. So I get on this thing, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I'm like literally going back and forth in a pattern. And then finally I start to figure out, okay, slow it down. And we're vertical, balanced on the hoverboard. That's pretty cool. Lean forward just a little bit, and wow, look at that. I move forward. Lean back a little bit. Oh, I go backward. So I can go forward. So I'm going forward toward Nana at like 1/10 of a mile an hour, right? And my objective is to pull up to Nana, and because everyone's watching me now, take my hands off the counters. My objective is to pull up to Nana and stop in front of her. So I pull up and I lean back to stop, but the board doesn't stop. I leaned back. You're supposed to be perfectly straight to stop. I leaned back. So the board started going backwards. And I wasn't expecting that. So I pick my foot up off the board to put it on the floor. The board detects that when I picked my foot up, I rocked my foot back. So the right wheel engages and rolls the hoverboard this way. And when I put my foot back down, expecting to be on the floor, I hit the hoverboard. Now I'm completely off balance. So I'm wobbling, and all of a sudden, whoop, I mean, like, beep over tea kettle, bam, the whole house shakes. 200-something pounds of Thor just boom, hits the kitchen floor. And everyone's like, oh, and oh, I got my elbow, bruised my elbow, smashed my hip. I was like, oh my gosh. But, you know, I popped up off the floor like, whoa, that was crazy, right? Woo! Oh my gosh, that doesn't feel good. But hey, I'm fine, guys. No problem. Everybody have a great Christmas. Oh gosh. And then everyone's like, hey, has he got back on the hoverboard again recently? No, he hasn't. But I got on it the other night in the basement and went forward and back a little bit, then got off it safely. So dismounting is appropriate. So my son gets this hoverboard, and I'm like, when you're done using this, I want your hoverboard. And my son's like, for what? I said, I'm going to put a pole through it and put a mannequin on it. And I'm going to drive it around. I'm going to put it like a phone on it with a camera, and I'm going to hook the controls up to the phone so I can drive it remotely. And I'm going to drive it around. I could even put a drone on its back and launch a drone off it. That'd be so cool. I'm going to drive it around, and people are going to say, what is this Mannequin Robot driving around Omaha? No one's going to know what it is. I'm going to send it into Hy-Vee to buy cookies. And it's going to be driving down the road with its Hy-Vee cookies, used its debit card, you know, tap to pay. It'll have my watch on there, boop, you know, that kind of thing. Perfect. Drive it away. It can go 9 miles an hour. It can go up to, like, 10 miles on a charge. Yeah, just drive this thing around, right? And imagine that everybody like, what is this? They'd be like the drones over Colorado and Nebraska. And then one day I'll just put a Schrock t-shirt on it and drive it around. Oh, it's a Schrock Innovations robot. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, right? And everyone would be talking about, it's a great Des Moines launch plan, right? Unmanned robots driving around. Oh no, it wouldn't work. But no. But I told my son that I was going to do that. And he just looked at me and he was like, he's 13 now, so he's got a little detector that sniffs and goes, nah, I don't think that's going to work, Dad. I was like, yeah, you're probably right. But beyond my capabilities a little bit. But wouldn't it be cool if we could get a telepresence robot? It's just not as cool because I can't do things. All right, questions. Let's see. Once you become located in Iowa, word will spread quickly about how great you are. I sure hope so, Eileen. Thank you for saying that. Can you get a later time slot on KFAB? Number one, I probably could. Number two, I wouldn't do it. This time slot is awesome because we have a built-in audience of people who are getting up for very specific reasons at this time. They're getting ready to go to church. Number three, we've been on KFAB for almost 10 years in the same time slot. The last thing you want to do is screw with that and change time slots. However, if you're in central Iowa, we are on WHO at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, which nobody's going anywhere at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. Nobody's in their car. Nobody's listening to nothing. It makes it really super duper fun to reach people on WHO. So as soon as an earlier time slot opens up on WHO, we will be moving the show appropriately. It'd be great if they were on at the same time on Sunday morning, because then when I'm dropping the call-in numbers, we tried to get everybody at the same time. So when I drop the numbers, at least when you call in, you would get me and you could ask a question on the show, even if it was, off topic to people listening live. At least it would be a call on the show. We can't do that. If you're on at a later time, it'll be hard to still get to church on time. I love that I have a reason now to get up and get going on Sunday. Yeah, there you go, Carolyn. That's part of it too. We have a lot of people listening that are there. But see, Carolyn, Richard's a top fan and you're not. So I mean, maybe he's more important. I don't know. I'm pretty sure, Carolyn, you bought more computers from us than Richard, though. So I don't know how you're not a top fan by now. Should be. All right. So anyway, I've said before that we can make a reality show out of all this stuff, and the thought occurred to me, like, getting this agent. How do you pick the agent? Meeting the agent. Going out. Next week we're gonna probably be driving Des Moines and looking at the locations. And I thought I could Facebook Live each location and say, this is location number 1. But the thing is we do have some people like Eileen who are really dedicated Central Iowa listeners, and then we have everybody else who's not. And everybody else who's not probably doesn't give a rat's rear where we're located in Des Moines. I think it's cool because I'm living it. Not everybody else would think it's so cool, probably. So I don't know. I thought maybe we should take some video. Maybe we can make a mashup video or something. It might just be, I don't know. Are people genuinely interested in business expanding? I don't know. All right. So last call, guys. I got to get rolling. I got to go pick up my son. He had his Scout Christmas party. They spent the night at Camp Eagle and played video games all night. So I'm going to go pick up a zombie and throw him in the front seat of my car. He'll be asleep before we get home. I'll have to wake him up somehow to get him out of the car, or I could just let him sleep in the car. He might get cold and wake up on his own. And then escort him to his bed where he's going to want to spend the entire day, which, of course, Mom's not going to let him do because then he won't sleep all night, and he'll want to stay up all night and play his Xbox again. And so we got to break the all-night video game cycle here. So I got to go pick him up. I don't want to be late to do that. But throughout the week, guys, we are open today, noon to 5. The computer sale is going on. Like the sooner you can get in, if you're going to do the Windows 10 thing, the better. We're going to get very busy on this because we do have a pretty accurate list of customers who are still running Windows 7. And those customers, we're going to be reaching out to them individually and directly to say, hey, what is your plan about Windows 7? We need to know what your plan is. What are you going to do? Are you going to replace the computer? Have you already replaced the computer? Are we going to upgrade the computer for you? Are you just going to keep using Windows 7 and hope that nothing goes wrong? Not a good plan, but again, our job is to give you choices. So anyway, that's what we plan on doing. So if we have you on file, here's the thing. If you've replaced your computer and haven't told us, send me an email, thor@schrock.com. Let me know, hey, we got rid of that old HP computer, and I'll mark it as recycled in the system, and then they won't call you about it. But if we have you on file as having a Windows 7 computer, you're going to get a call to say, hey, what's your plan? Because we're gonna wait a week probably to let people who are going to take care of it, and then after that week, we're going to really start contacting people and finding out what's going on, because you only have a few days left to get this fixed, and we don't want to be calling you on the 14th saying you have to come in right now, because that's super scammy. We'd rather give you some notice, give you a week to think about it and figure out what you want to do. So anyway, we'll talk to you all again next Sunday. Let's see, Wesley thinking of switching to Endpoint. He's in Des Moines. Can this be done remotely? Also, I use screen reading software. If Endpoint adversely affects the screen reader, is there a return policy? Okay. So Wesley, Endpoint does not impact the screen reader technology. We have lots of customers who are visually impaired. Doesn't have a problem. I can't promise you that Endpoint is screen reader friendly. That's the downside. The upside is there's no reason for you to ever read it because it never tells you to do anything. It literally runs itself, and if it has a question, it asks us, and then we tell it what to do. That's why it's actively managed. Yes, it can be installed remotely. We do it all the time. In fact, you can buy it on our website at schrockinnovations.com, or you can call us in the service center, and then we can, in any of the service centers, and then we can do a Schrock desk session with you to get connected and install it over the Schrock desk. Make sure you let the I'm sure you know this, but make sure you let the technician know you're visually impaired so they don't give you visual cues like, do you see the arrow over there? Click on the arrow. You know, they can tell you more. Like in the center of the screen, there is a box. In this box, it has the words this, this, and this. Underneath that box, there is a place you can enter a code. Please click your mouse there, enter the code. What browser are you using? Are you using Chrome? Now, in the lower left-hand corner of your screen, a box has appeared. Please left-click on the download box and run the software. They can give you very specific directions that are going to be friendlier for a visually impaired person if we know you're visually impaired. Like I said, it's not our first rodeo. We've got some visually impaired customers. All right. Thanks for joining us, guys. We're happy to help you out. I appreciate your loyalty. I appreciate you listening to the show and sharing it and liking it and following Schrock. It means the world to us. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again next Sunday for another edition of Compute This.